When my daughter told me she thought my estate plans were delusional ramblings of an old woman, I collapsed into my chair, unable to breathe. Days later, I was secretly meeting with the best lawyer in the state. That's when I realized family loyalty is like fine china, beautiful until someone decides to shatter it. If you're watching this right now, hit that subscribe button and comment where you're from. Because what I'm about to tell you twists harder than a tornado in Kansas, and you won't want to miss a single second. For 35 years, I built our family legacy brick by brick. The Harrington estate wasn't just property, it was our history, our future, our sanctuary. 5 acres of prime land, a historic mansion my late husband and I restored with our bare hands, and enough financial security to last generations. Mom, you need to be practical, Elise would say, her voice dripping with that condescending tone she'd perfected in recent years. You can't expect the estate to stay intact forever. But I knew what practical meant to my daughter and her husband Martin. It meant selling off pieces of our heritage to fund their lavish lifestyle, the sports cars, the yacht club membership, the vacations I only saw through their social media posts. I should have seen the betrayal coming. The whispered phone calls that stopped when I entered the room. The sudden interest in my financial paperwork. The way Martin's eyes would linger just a little too long on the antique silver when he thought I wasn't looking. But nothing prepared me for what I overheard that rainy Tuesday afternoon. I was heading to the reading room when their voices drifted through the partially open door of Martin's home office. Your mother's estate plan is ridiculous, Martin was saying, laughter punctuating his words. A trust that can't be touched for 20 years? Conservation easements? What is this? The 1800s? Then came my daughter's voice, the little girl I'd read bedtime stories to, the teenager I'd taught to drive, the woman I'd helped through childbirth. I know. It's absurd. Don't worry, we'll get it changed. She trusts me completely. Script part separator equals. Their laughter cut through me like a serrated knife, twisting as it went in. I gripped the hallway table, my knuckles white as bone. Mom's getting forgetful anyway, Elise continued, her voice casual, as if discussing the weather. The doctor said early signs of cognitive decline at her last checkup. My breath caught. What doctor? I hadn't been diagnosed with anything. Perfect, Martin replied. If she won't sign willingly, we might need to explore other options. Competency hearings are straightforward when you have medical documentation. I backed away silently, my heart thundering in my chest. They weren't just planning to ignore my wishes. They were plotting to declare me incompetent. My own daughter. My own flesh and blood. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying 30 years of memories with Elise. Her first steps across this very house. Teaching her to bake in our family kitchen. The pride in her eyes when she brought Martin home to meet me. Had it all been a performance? Or had something changed her? Perhaps it was Martin's influence. He'd always had expensive tastes that exceeded his middling success as an investment advisor. By morning, I had made my decision. If they wanted war, I would give them war. But I would fight smart, not angry. My first call was to my old friend Judith, who'd retired as a family court judge 3 years prior. They said what? Judith gasped when I told her everything. Margaret, this isn't just disrespectful. It's potentially criminal. Financial elder abuse is serious. What should I do? My voice sounded foreign to my own ears. Small, frightened. Don't confront them yet, she advised. Document everything. Change your banking passwords. And call Stanley Chun immediately. Stanley Chun was the most feared estate attorney in 3 counties. He'd built his reputation defending elderly clients from predatory family members. And Margaret, Judith added, her voice steel, don't eat or drink anything they give you. If they're willing to fake medical records, who knows what else they might try. The thought sent ice through my veins. Surely Elise wouldn't. But then again, I never thought she'd laugh at me behind my back either. Script part separator equals. Stanley Chen's office was in a sleek downtown building that seemed to touch the clouds. His handshake was firm, his eyes sharp behind rimless glasses. Mrs. Harrington, what you're describing is unfortunately common, he said after I'd explained everything. But the premeditation here, planning to declare you incompetent, that crosses several legal lines. Can they really do that? Have me declared incompetent? Stanley leaned forward. They can try, but we're not going to let them succeed. His plan was methodical. First, I needed an independent medical evaluation documenting my perfect mental acuity. Second, we would secure my assets immediately. Third, we would gather evidence of their conspiracy. What about confronting Elise? I asked. She's still my daughter. Stanley's expression softened slightly. I understand. But right now, confrontation would only alert them to your awareness. We need the element of surprise. I left his office with a list of urgent tasks and a sick feeling in my stomach. That evening, when Elise called to check in, I played the role of the oblivious mother perfectly. Mom, Martin and I were thinking, she said sweetly, maybe we should update your will. Laws change so often these days.
Oh.
Well, that's thoughtful, dear, I replied, my hand shaking as I clutched the phone. Perhaps next week? Actually, we have a lawyer friend coming over tomorrow.
Just to chat casually.
Tomorrow? They were moving fast. I have my hair appointment, I lied. Perhaps Friday? After hanging up, I called Stanley immediately. His response was unequivocal. Don't be home tomorrow. They're accelerating their timeline. The next morning, I left before dawn, taking only a small overnight bag and the family photo albums. As I pulled out of the driveway, I caught a glimpse of movement at the guest house where Elise and Martin stayed during their visits. Martin was already awake, watching me leave. My phone rang 30 minutes later. Mom?
Where are you?
I thought we were having breakfast together. Elise's voice was honey-sweet with an undercurrent of urgency. Oh, didn't I mention? My friend Barbara isn't feeling well. I'm staying with her for a few days. But Martin's friend was coming over. I'm so sorry to miss him. Send my regrets. I could almost hear her teeth grinding. Mom, this is important. We need to. Elise, dear, I'm driving. We'll talk later. I hung up and turned off my phone. In the rearview mirror, I saw 68 years of being the reliable, predictable mother fading away. Ahead of me lay the unknown, and my first real act of rebellion against my own child. Script part separator ===. For 3 days, I stayed at the Hamilton Hotel downtown, a place Martin would never think to look, too expensive for his presumptions about my spending habits. I powered my phone on only to check messages, finding 17 from Elise ranging from concerned to furious. Mom, we're worried sick. Mom, this isn't like you. Mom, if you don't call back, we might need to file a missing person report. That last one made me laugh bitterly. A missing person report would bring police attention, the last thing they wanted. Meanwhile, Stanley's plan progressed with military precision. Dr. Levin, a respected neurologist, conducted a comprehensive cognitive assessment, concluding I was exceptionally sharp for any age. The bank manager at First National, where I'd been a customer for 40 years, helped me secure my accounts with new passwords and additional verification steps. Most importantly, I had a court date, just 3 weeks away, to modify my trust with additional safeguards against coercion. It was time to return home and face them. I arrived mid-morning when I knew Elise would be at her yoga class. To my surprise, Martin's BMW sat in the driveway. He wasn't supposed to be here, he had an office downtown. I found him in my study, rifling through my desk drawers. Looking for something, Martin? I asked coldly from the doorway. He jumped like he'd been shocked, papers scattering from his hands. Margaret. Thank God. We've been so worried. I'm sure you have. I stepped into the room, noting the open filing cabinet, the disarray of my normally immaculate desk. What exactly are you searching for in my private papers? Your medication, actually. His recovery was impressive, smooth and instantaneous. Elise mentioned you might have forgotten to take it with you. How thoughtful. Except I don't take any daily medication. His smile tightened. The doctor said your memory might. My memory is perfect, Martin. As Dr. Levin confirmed yesterday during my cognitive assessment, the slight widening of his eyes was my first victory. He hadn't expected me to seek independent medical evaluation. Script part separator equals. The silence between us stretched taut as a wire. Martin's smile remained frozen, but something calculating flickered behind his eyes. Cognitive assessment? That seems excessive, he said carefully. We're only trying to help. By searching my desk while I'm away? By planning to declare me incompetent? I stepped closer. By falsifying medical records? The color drained from his face. I don't know what you think you heard. I heard everything, Martin. You and Elise laughing about my ridiculous estate plan. Discussing how convenient my supposed cognitive decline would be. His expression hardened. You misunderstood. We're concerned about you living alone in this massive property. It's too much for one person. Is that why you're so interested in selling it off piece by piece? The front door opened before he could respond. Elise's voice called out, Mom? Your car's here. Mom? She appeared in the doorway, yoga mat under her arm, face flushed. When she saw me, relief washed over her features. She rushed forward, arms outstretched.
Mom.
We were so worried. Where have you been? I stepped back, avoiding her embrace. The hurt that flashed across her face almost broke my resolve. Almost. I needed some time to think, I said. About my future. About the estate. We've been trying to talk to you about that, she said eagerly. Martin has some wonderful ideas. I'm sure he does. My voice was ice. Just like his idea to have me declared incompetent if I don't cooperate. Her face went slack. What? Don't bother denying it, Elise. I heard you both in Martin's office last week. Martin stepped forward. Margaret, you're confused. We never. I have it recorded. I lied, watching their reactions carefully. The panic that flashed across both their faces told me everything. Mom, Elise whispered, whatever you think you heard, save it. I reached into my purse and pulled out an envelope. This is a restraining order. You have 24 hours to vacate the guest house. Script part separator equals. You did what? Elise's voice rose to a pitch I hadn't heard since her teenage years. You can't be serious. Martin grabbed her arm, squeezing it in warning. Let's all calm down, he said, his lawyer voice emerging. Margaret, there's clearly been a misunderstanding. The only misunderstanding was mine, I replied, clutching the envelope tighter. I misunderstood your character. Both of you. Mom, please. Elise's eyes filled with tears. This is our home too.
No.
This is my home. The home your father and I built. The home you were planning to dismantle the moment you thought you could get away with it. Martin stepped forward, hands raised placatingly. Look, Margaret, maybe we got a bit ahead of ourselves discussing the estate's future, but we never. Save it for the judge, I cut him off. You have until noon tomorrow. After that, the sheriff will escort you out. I turned to leave, my heart pounding so hard I feared it might give out, ironically providing them exactly the medical emergency they'd been hoping for. This is a mistake, Martin called after me. You have no idea what you're doing. I paused at the doorway, looking back at them, my daughter clutching her husband's arm, both their faces masks of shock and anger. I know exactly what I'm doing, I said. I'm protecting what's mine. As I climbed the stairs to my bedroom, Elise's voice floated up after me, wobbling with emotion. Mom, please. You can't do this to us. Where are we supposed to go? I didn't answer. Let them feel a fraction of the uncertainty they'd planned for me. My hands shook as I locked my bedroom door behind me. Through the window, I could see down to the driveway, where Martin was already on his phone, pacing frantically. Making contingency plans, no doubt. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt hollow. 68 years old, and at war with my only child. Script part separator equals. The next 24 hours unfolded like a fever dream. I barely slept, jumping at every creak and footstep in the house. What if they tried to break into my room? What if they destroyed property in retaliation? Worse, what if Elise cried outside my door, begging forgiveness? Would my resolve crumble? But they employed a different strategy. At dawn, A series of text messages began lighting up my phone. Mom, please reconsider. We can talk this through. Mom, Martin is just trying to help secure our family's future. Mom, I'm your daughter. Your only child.
Please don't do this.
Each one pierced my heart, but I remembered Stanley's warning. They'll appeal to your maternal instincts. Stay strong. By 11:30 a.m., I heard car doors slamming. From my window, I watched Martin loading suitcases into their BMW, while Elise stood in the driveway, staring up at my window. When she saw me, she raised her hand, half wave, half plea. I stepped back from the window. At precisely noon, my doorbell rang. I descended the stairs slowly, my hand trailing along the banister my late husband had restored himself. On my doorstep stood not Elise, but Sheriff Dawson, an old family friend. Margaret, he nodded awkwardly, hat in hand. Got a call saying you might need assistance with vacating some guests? They've already left, Bill, I said, gesturing to the empty driveway. His relief was palpable. Good. Hate to get involved in family matters. One more thing, I said. I'd like to formally document that they've removed their belongings. In case there are accusations later. His eyes widened slightly, but he nodded. Of course. I'll do a walkthrough with you. The guest house was eerily empty, stripped of all personal items. But something felt wrong. As Sheriff Dawson filled out his report in the kitchen, I wandered into the bedroom and opened the closet. Empty, except for a small hidden wall safe we'd installed years ago. My husband's idea, a place for emergency cash and important documents. The safe door hung open. Empty. My stomach dropped. Bill, I called out, my voice strained. I need to report a theft. Script part separator ===. Sheriff Dawson's pen froze over his notepad. Theft? What's missing? My breath came in short gasps as I pointed to the empty safe. There was $50,000 in emergency cash. And my husband's will, some jewelry. Bill's expression darkened as he radioed for backup. This changes things, Margaret. Within hours, my quiet family dispute exploded into a criminal investigation. Detectives photographed the safe, dusted for fingerprints, and took my statement. The responding officer, a young woman named Martinez, pulled me aside. Mrs. Harrington, in cases like this, family members often take more than what's immediately apparent. You should inventory everything valuable. The next morning, I discovered she was right. My grandmother's pearls, missing from my jewelry box. The small Monet sketch from the hall bathroom gone. Even my husband's rare coin collection had vanished from his study. When I called Stanley to update him, his response was immediate. This is the best thing that could have happened. They stole from me. How is that good? Because now it's not just a family disagreement, it's criminal. The court will see exactly what we're dealing with. But something still bothered me. Martin was too smart to commit outright theft. Unless he was desperate. I called my old friend Catherine, whose husband worked at Martin's investment firm. Oh, Margaret, haven't you heard? Catherine's voice dropped to a whisper. Martin's been on thin ice for months. There are rumors about client funds being misappropriated. Some people are saying he's going to be indicted. The pieces suddenly clicked into place. Martin wasn't just greedy, he was drowning. And he'd been planning to use my estate as his life raft. That night, my doorbell rang at 9 p.m. Through the peephole, I saw Elise standing alone, her face streaked with tears. Mom, please, she called through the door. I didn't know about the safe. I swear I didn't know. Script part separator ===. I stared at the door, my hand frozen on the knob. Every maternal instinct screamed to open it, to hold my daughter, to fix whatever had broken between us. Mom, please, she called again, her voice cracking. Martin took things too far. I never wanted this. I opened the door just enough to see her fully. She looked terrible, eyes swollen from crying, hair disheveled, wearing the same clothes as yesterday. You should leave, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. There's an active police investigation now. Police? Her face paled. For what? Theft, Elise. Grand theft. The safe, my jewelry, your father's coins, all missing. I didn't know, she whispered.
I swear, Mom.
Martin just said we needed to clear our things quickly. And the Monet sketch? Was that your things too? She blinked in confusion. What sketch? Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. Something in her expression made me pause. Either my daughter was an exceptional actress, or she genuinely didn't know. Where's Martin now? I asked. I don't know. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. He dropped me at a hotel and said he had business to handle. He's not answering my calls. A car door slammed in the distance, and Elise jumped, looking over her shoulder. I think he's in trouble, Mom, she whispered. Real trouble. Yesterday, 2 men came looking for him at the hotel. They didn't look like police. My blood ran cold. What had Martin gotten himself into? And more importantly, had he dragged my daughter down with him? Come inside, I said finally, opening the door wider. But understand this doesn't change anything. I can't trust you right now, Elise. She nodded, stepping into the foyer, the same foyer where I taught her to walk, to dance, to carry herself with pride. I understand, she said quietly. I wouldn't trust me either. Script part separator . I led Elise to the kitchen, keeping a cautious distance between us. The house felt different with her in it now, tainted by suspicion. I put on the kettle, a reflexive gesture from decades of mother-daughter talks. Tell me everything, I said, setting a mug before her.
And Elise, don't lie.
Not one word. She wrapped her hands around the mug, staring into the steam. It started about 6 months ago. Martin came home, different, agitated. He said there were temporary financial problems at work. What kind of problems?
He wouldn't say.
Just that he needed to borrow from some accounts to cover others. She looked up, eyes red-rimmed. Then the phone calls started. Late at night. Men with voices that made me leave the room. The kettle whistled, making us both jump. Last month, she continued, he said we needed a safety net. That's when he started talking about your estate. He said it was just planning ahead. Planning to steal my home? I corrected. He called it asset reallocation, she whispered. It sounded reasonable when he explained it. How you didn't need all the space, how it could benefit everyone if you took what wasn't yours, I finished. Mom, I never agreed to declare you incompetent. That was Martin's idea after you wouldn't sign the papers he drafted. My phone rang suddenly, Stanley Chin. I answered immediately. Margaret, where are you right now? His voice was urgent. At home.
Why?
Is anyone with you? I looked at Elise. My daughter. Get out of there.
Now.
Martin's been arrested trying to cross the Canadian border with fake passports and your jewelry. And he wasn't alone. Script part separator . My blood turned to ice. Who was with him? There was a brief hesitation on Stanley's line. A woman. Blonde, mid-30s. She's claiming to be Elise Harrington. I stared at my daughter across the table, her familiar face streaked with tears. Elise, who was undeniably brunette. Elise, who was sitting in my kitchen right now. That's impossible, I whispered. Elise is here with me. Get out of there now, Margaret. Stanley's voice was sharp with fear. If Elise is with you, then who? The line went dead. At the same moment, I heard a car door slam outside. Mom? What's wrong? Elise asked, rising from her chair. We need to leave.
Right now.
I grabbed my purse and keys. But you said Martin was arrested. Not just Martin. He had a woman with him claiming to be you. Elise's face drained of color. Oh my God. That's her. Who?
Ashley.
His other wife. The words hit me like a physical blow. Other wife. They've been married for 3 years, Elise whispered, tears streaming down her face. I only found out last week. She lives in Toronto. They have a child together. A sudden crash from the front of the house cut our conversation short. The sound of breaking glass, then heavy footsteps. Back door, I hissed, grabbing Elise's arm. We fled through the kitchen as male voices filled the foyer. Out into the garden, across the lawn, toward my neighbor's house. Behind us, shouts echoed from my home. Angry men tearing through rooms, searching. Margaret. A voice bellowed from my back porch. We know you're out there. Not Martin's voice. Someone else. Someone dangerous. Hide here, I whispered to Elise, pushing her into the dense hedgerow separating our properties. I'll draw them away.
Mom, no.
Call the police. Tell them everything. Script part separator equals. Before she could argue, I emerged from the hedges and ran toward my garden shed, making as much noise as possible.
Hey.
There she is. The shout came immediately, followed by pounding footsteps. I ducked into the shed, slamming the door behind me. My fingers found the hidden panel where Edward had installed a panic button years ago, just in case, he'd said. I pressed it repeatedly, praying the security company hadn't disconnected it. The shed door rattled violently. Come out now, Margaret. We just want what Martin promised us. I backed against the wall, searching frantically for a weapon. My hand closed around Edward's old golf club. The door splintered open. A man I'd never seen before stood there, tall, tattooed, eyes cold as January. Behind him, another man scanned the garden. Where's the money, lady? The first man stepped into the shed. I don't know what you're talking about, I said, gripping the golf club tighter. Martin owed us $500,000. Said his mother-in-law was loaded. He ran with our down payment, but we know there's more. Martin lied to you, I said. Just like he lied to everyone else. A police siren wailed in the distance. The man's head whipped around. We're not done, he growled, backing out of the shed. You tell Martin's wife if she wants to live, she better find our money. They ran, disappearing over the garden wall just as blue lights flashed at the front of my property. I sagged against the wall, the golf club clattering to the ground. Martin hadn't just been planning to steal my estate, he'd already sold it to criminals. And now they thought Elise owed their money. I stumbled out of the shed on shaking legs. Elise emerged from the hedges, running toward me as police officers swarmed the property.
Mom.
She threw her arms around me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I held her tight, feeling her body shake with sobs against mine. My daughter. My betrayer. My child in danger. This isn't over, I whispered into her hair. Not by a long shot. Script part separator equals. The police detective, a serious woman named Reeves with prematurely gray hair, took our statements in separate rooms. Through the study window, I could see Elise gesturing frantically as an officer photographed her tear-streaked face. Let me understand this, Detective Reeves said, tapping her pen against her notepad. Your son-in-law was running a Ponzi scheme, married another woman, stole your valuables, and now has loaned sharks after your daughter? That's the simplified version, I replied. And you believe your daughter was unaware? I hesitated. I want to believe that. Detective Reeves studied me carefully. Mrs. Harrington, in my experience, spouses usually know more than they admit. The truth of her words stung. Had Elise been complicit all along? The evidence suggested otherwise. Martin had abandoned her, leaving her to face dangerous men alone while he fled with his other wife. But doubt still lingered. We'll station an officer outside tonight, Detective Reeves said. These men may return. After the police left, Elise and I sat in uneasy silence at the kitchen table. The house had been fingerprinted, photographed, and searched. It no longer felt like a home. Why didn't you tell me about Ashley? I finally asked. Elise stared at her hands. I was ashamed. How could I admit I didn't know my own husband? That everything was a lie? So you decided to steal my estate instead?
No.
Her head snapped up. Martin said we needed emergency funds because of trouble at work. He suggested talking to you about early inheritance. That's all I knew at first. At first? She looked away. Later, when you refused, he got desperate. Started talking about competency hearings. I laughed it off. I never thought he was serious. I heard you laughing, Elise. Both of you. I was nervous. I laugh when I'm uncomfortable.
You know that. Did I?
Did I really know my daughter at all anymore? The final confrontation came 3 weeks later in a packed courtroom. Martin, freshly extradited from Canada, sat in handcuffs beside his attorney. Ashley, his other wife, was conspicuously absent, having turned state's witness. Your Honor, Stanley Chin addressed the judge. Mrs. Harrington has suffered extraordinary betrayal and criminal conspiracy at the hands of her son-in-law. Martin's lawyer attempted to paint him as a desperate man trying to save his family from financial ruin. When Martin took the stand, he looked directly at me. Margaret, I never meant for things to go this far. You needed to destroy my life to save yours, I interrupted, earning a warning from the judge. Then came the moment that changed everything. Elise walked to the stand, her posture straight, her voice unwavering. My mother trusted me, she testified, tears streaming down her face. And I betrayed that trust by not stopping Martin when I should have. I'm as guilty as he is. The courtroom fell silent. Martin's face contorted with rage. You lying bitch. You knew everything. As security restrained him, evidence flashed on the courtroom screen. Bank transfers, forged documents, all in Martin's hand. The final nail, recorded conversations with his criminal associates, planning what they'd do with the old lady's estate once I was declared incompetent. When the judge announced Martin's 20-year sentence, I felt no triumph, only relief that the nightmare was ending. Outside the courthouse, Elise approached me hesitantly. I've found an apartment. I'll be out of the guest house by Friday. I studied my daughter's face, familiar yet changed by hardship. There's a lot to rebuild between us. She nodded, understanding the olive branch for what it was. As we walked down the courthouse steps together, not touching, not yet reconciled, but moving forward, I realized that sometimes the greatest legacy we leave isn't property or possessions. It's the strength to face betrayal and still find a path to tomorrow.